so we will move.
At home?
Yes?
Before we do public comment, I need to make a clarification on some of the comment cards. I have some guests here tonight and speakers putting 8.1. I think you mean 7.1. You're here for public comment. Anna Ribeiro. There is no speaking on 8.1. It's the employee organization comments. They allowed? Oh, you do want to do employee organization? Okay, just clarifying. Thank you.
President Holm, can you just do one quick reminder before you get started? Because there's so many and there was so much noise. I don't know if everyone heard you.
Last call for comment cards for item 7.1, which we're about to start. Okay. How many comments do we have for 7.1, do you know? A lot. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and start.
There you go, Wildcats. Let's go. Step up.
Sandra Petros, Travis Walker, Marcella.
Can I go ahead and start? Okay. Hi, I'm Sandra. I work at PV High School. I'm going to say go Grizzlies. Go Grizzlies. And Jennifer, my condolences really to your family. My prayers are with you. Negotiations feel like a used car. The buyer is trying to get the lowest price. We are not used cars. We are talented, educated, active members in our community, this community. We produce stellar students to represent our community. Actually, I just reconnected with one of my college friends from UCSB, and she attended Watsonville High School back in the day, 30 years ago. And what I found out was she actually went to Stanford after UCSB and became a lawyer. I enjoy working at my school with my fellow students, teachers, and administrators. I have my master's degree and have to resort to renting a room here, okay, to live. Because I can't afford anything else in this area where I love and I encourage my students. And this is no way to live, nor did I ever imagine my lifestyle as a professional in this capacity. I qualify for affordable housing, okay? What a shame. I'm the only child of 4 that attended college, first generation. My siblings make 3 times as much as I do. And I just want to know, how do we find this acceptable? How do we find this not providing adequate salaries to our teachers acceptable? So the message that I'm getting from the district is that we're not important. We're like used car salespeople, like used cars. So I do propose a COLA as well as additional percentage to increase what we have while keeping our benefits the same. I also was wondering about the COLA for the 2021 school year and why it's not revocable or retroactive, rather, is the word. So where are those funds is what I'm wondering, and then how do we add those to our salaries? Because the funds are there. Thank you.
¿Es class?
Sí, ya lo empezaron.
Hi, everybody. A lot of my students are here tonight. I'm very excited. In one of my previous comments, I remember getting up here and telling you that the COLA is a good start, but it's not going to be enough. Negotiations just started on the 1st, and the district's first offer was half of the COLA. Which, if the COLA is not enough, half of the COLA is definitely not enough. And rather than focus on our particular situation, because I feel like oftentimes these things can turn into an us and them, this is not an us and them situation. In Santa Cruz County, there's currently an 8% teacher retirement rate, with only 3 to 4% of new teachers coming in. That's a deficit, and it's not going anywhere. This district has likes to tout the national teacher shortage as a factor in our district's teacher shortage. Despite that our district's teacher shortage came way first, it's only going to get worse. If 8% of teachers are retiring and only 3 or 4% are coming in, every single year, your deficit is going to increase. This isn't we're asking for more money just because we want the more money. There were 8 teacher vacancies at our school. There's now 9. We, even in this school year, have had an increase in vacancies. The problem's only going to get worse, and you offering half of the money that should be allocated to teachers' salaries is... I can't think of an adjective for it. It's just straight up nonsensical. It does not make sense. Who is this for? What good is a school that doesn't have teachers? And our school doesn't have teachers. And the statistics say what the statistics say. It's only going to get worse. I've been at Watsonville High School for 4 years. It's gotten worse every year I've been there. It's just going to keep happening. Why are we still continuing to fall into this mold of teachers asking for more money is an affront?
Is there Marcella Balderas here? Okay, she's coming.
Is this on already? Or? Okay. Hi, I'm Marisela, and what I want to talk about today is how our teachers not only need, but deserve better pay. Our teachers have always been there for us, and they've been taking on the job as our counselors and listening to what we say and do and paying attention to us. I mean, just take into account how many teachers are here right now in their own time when they could be grading and doing stuff like that to fight for their money. As well as I wanted to talk about counselors. We only have 2 at the moment, and I'd like to know that we have counselors there, like just in case I go through a mental breakdown, that I don't have to go looking for one, and one's in Aptos. I want to know that someone will be there to listen to me and be able to help me through my mental breakdown at school. Yes, I think that's all I have to say.
Marguerite Rosa, Antonio, and Maria Chavez.
It's going to be short and straight to the point. Our teachers deserve better payment, and we need more teachers because half of our classes have been subs all year, and that's it. That's about it.
Mariana, Andi, and Rachel.
Hello, my name is Mariana Carrillo. I am a senior at Watsonville High School, and I wanted to talk about how our schools are super understaffed, and it's very frustrating because us as students aren't really learning anything, and we get to a classroom and we see a sub or we have to hang out at the gym for a whole period doing nothing, and we aren't really learning anything. Also, I'm sure it's really frustrating for those teachers who are doing both teaching and subbing because that's their time. That's time they could be like prepping for other classes, and we have art teachers subbing for bio classes and English teachers subbing for PE classes, and these teachers are doing it for us students, but I think we should reward those teachers who are helping, doing that extra work, and also like our staff isn't getting enough paid. And yeah, thank you for listening.
My name is Andy, and I am a teacher at Amesti Elementary. I'm here to explain to you why I am no longer teaching. I am in the classroom every single day, but I'm unable to teach my students because I have a loss of prep time because I'm subbing in classes that have nothing to do with my field of expertise, which is special education. I am unable to assess students or write IEPs because I'm subbing in classrooms and I'm unable to prep for my students. I'm asking you guys, if you really want to know how things are going, I understand that you guys are in the community, but I invite you to come join us in our classroom for an entire day if you want to know. I would also like to ask you guys to quit buying signs that tell us that you care and start showing us that you care. Please invest the money in students, invest the money in bus drivers so students can get to and from school safely, invest money in teachers who are already here, and invest money in teachers so that we don't have to be using our prep time to sub in classes that have nothing to do with us. This is not education. I am not qualified to teach a first grade class. I am a special education teacher. They are not getting the academics that they deserve. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Rachel Hitchcock, and I have proudly worked at Amesti Elementary for the past 21 years. Thank you, board members and Dr. Rodriguez, for all the work you do. I am here tonight to ask you to offer teachers more than what amounts to approximately $2.3 million in raises. Well, that sounds like a lot of money, and I am extremely heartened that a raise was even offered. I think Pvusd can afford to and must give us a bigger raise. Right now in Pvusd, there is a huge amount of COVID money, a huge amount of COLA money, a huge amount of money in reserve. After you subtract the 3% required and the additional 3% reserve voted for by you, there is still over $18 million in reserve right now. Conversely, there is a huge number of teacher vacancies, leaving an enormous number of children just sitting and doing nothing, getting frustrated and dejected and more hopeless every day. There is also a huge amount of loss of prep time due to having to sub in classes when our colleagues are absent. A huge amount of coaching and support loss to TOSAs, subbing in vacant positions. And now, a substantial amount of teachers who are seriously thinking about not coming back next year. Teachers want Pvusd to have money in reserve. We do. But teachers, and your job, is to educate children, not hoard money. The ending balance for the 21-22 interim budget is over $34 million. When you subtract that 3% required to reserve plus the additional 3% you voted for, you are still left with over $400 million. How can Pvusd justify having all this money when there are still over 20 classrooms with no teacher in them? Use the money to increase teachers' salaries now. Thank you for your time.
Ari, Parker, Sean, Rebecca Cantrell.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Ari Parker. I am a teacher of approximately 34 years in the Pajaro Valley Unified School District. I'm a city council member. I'm the mayor pro tem of Watsonville. I'm not speaking for Watsonville tonight, although they speak for Watsonville. So I'm just extremely disappointed, that would be the kindest word I could say, about your negotiations and the beginning of your negotiations. And I'm going to speak to the trustees, because the trustees, I'm in the position, like you are, where you give direction. And I think it's time you gave direction. And you gave direction that says, you need to pay our employees what they need to have to maintain living circumstances here in Santa Cruz County. The amount of money that this district has, the amount of money, COVID money that they got compared to, I know what the city got, it's it's astronomically different. We have taken care of all of our employees, and we have worked hard to do so. You have not. And I know you take it seriously, trustees, some of you. And some of you do not. I've been on your side of the table where you sit and listen, and you think about it, and you hear what people are saying. So I'm going to be as reasonable as I can. You need to do something. Thank you. Not having sick leave for teachers who get COVID, and refusing to even talk about that in negotiations? Are you kidding me? I've had 3 already in my class. Okay, so let's get real. We have been here for this school district. We have been here for our students well above and beyond. And you need to be there for us. And you're not. So wake up.
Time.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Merry Christmas to start off. I planned on speaking about something different tonight, but I had a conversation with a gentleman today that his kid is in Pvusd, and he said something to me that actually reassured a fear that I have, and that's that this district would treat people different. I'm sure if this district was treating people different because of their color or their beliefs, we would all stand together and say that that is incorrect. But we treat people different based on their vaccine status. So if there's an exposure in a classroom, kids who are vaccinated get to stay in person learning, which is where they belong. But if a kid is not vaccinated, he can't go back until he's tested. I think we can all agree that if you have the vaccine, you can still get the virus. So why would we treat children different based on that? It doesn't make any sense to me. I'm going to keep it brief tonight so that way you guys can speak.
Good evening. My name is Rebecca. I'm a full-time 8th year teacher. I qualify for housing vouchers. I'm going to say that again because it's important. I'm a full-time 8th year teacher, and I qualify for housing vouchers. How does that show that Pvusd cares?
Jessica Corona, Chris Webb, Stephanie.
Good evening. I'm Jessica Corona. I'm a 3rd grade teacher at Calabasas Elementary. With permission, I have compiled some of my elementary colleagues' comments. The common themes are frustration, lack of support, and feeling wide awake and worried. My teacher friend here just spoke about being an 8th year teacher and still qualifying for Section 8 housing. That is disgusting. There's another teacher at our school. She's a Watsonville native, the daughter of 2 Pvusd teachers. She's been teaching for 15 years. She even won Teacher of the Year a few years ago. She and her husband have 2 young children but can't afford the rent in this area and have moved in with their parents in order to stay. She states, "I have always been motivated to make things work, but the conditions this year, coupled with the lack of pay, has us looking for places to move to. I fear for what is to come for the students and families in this district." Dr. Rodriguez, you wrote in your December 3rd broadcast email that while attending a conference, it became clear to me that we must continue to place the needs of our students at the center. This is true not only for fiscal decisions, but also for our daily work in schools. If the district truly wants to be student-focused, having regular classroom teachers should be a top priority. The current offer in negotiation amounts to an average of only $160 a month raise. Teachers have invested in their education, and They are invested in their students' education. When will this board and Dr. Rodriguez invest and pay the dedicated professional teachers that show up every day at PVUSD? Without a major raise in salary, PVUSD will not keep teachers. There's at least 6 teachers at our site that are probably not returning next year. Thank you.
Part-time.
Good evening. At the last meeting, Pavilion had quoted part of their job description for administrators that left them vulnerable to extra duties. This was followed up with a comment about how, in spite of this, they do not complain. Well, I would first note that if teachers were paid like administrators, they would be more receptive to accepting additional duties. Secondly, and more significantly, this raised concerns I've long had about the culture that might exist between the DO and administrators, wherein they feel they can't afford to advocate sufficiently for their sites and their students without upsetting the DO. All too often, I've seen the interests of my site not get represented, and that's brought me here because if my administrator is not going to do it, then I have to do it. And one of the things that came with this, obviously, was the elimination of our award-winning system. I think if we're going to have this situation, we should modify the job description of administrators so that they are required to teach one class, so that this might get them to preserve their compassion a little more and stay in touch with the realities of their site. Ideally, bolstering their resolve to push back on changes for the DO that do not improve circumstances at sites. Since administrators tend to get raises with PVFT, when we negotiate a raise, PVM might as well be doing a little teaching to be worthy of the raises PVFT effectively secures for them. God knows we got vacancies to fill. I'm gonna read a couple of comments from my students on our system. It makes sense. You mess up, you get consequences. The level system was a good way to help students do better. I feel that it made students do better, try harder. I had one of those back in Watsonville High. It was all right. I still went late, nothing changed. I wasn't here during the leveling system, but it sounds kind of annoying. Also, it sounds like it could help since it acts like a check-in. I felt...
Part-time.
Thank you.
Stephanie Lefevre.
Hello. Hello. Okay. Hello, my name is Stephanie Lefevre. I am a mild moderate special day class teacher at McQuitty, and I'm also the SDC union representative. In this role, I have been speaking with SDC teachers across the district, and the overwhelming response is that we are overworked and underpaid. We need more prep time. SDC teachers across the district are tired of special education running on the free labor that teachers provide. IEP paperwork and the majority of IEP meetings are done outside of contract hours. We are planning lessons outside of contract hours because there is no way that we can provide rigorous and individualized learning for each student with the prep time we have now. We need smaller class sizes. Anyone who has worked in an SDC classroom can tell you that it feels less like an effective classroom environment and more like a poorly run daycare. There are simply too many challenging behaviors and individualized needs to create a sustainable classroom with our current class sizes. We need higher salaries. It is no secret that teachers spend their own money on supplies and additional lesson plans. We do this because we care about our students and want them to succeed. And the curriculum provided by the district is not accessible enough for SDC students with the range of disabilities and academic levels that we work with. We are constantly working overtime on weeknights and on weekends. Not to mention our work is extremely challenging and mentally and physically draining. With all this in mind, the least you could do is give us the respect and dignity of being paid a living wage in one of the most expensive places to live in the world. If PVUSD really cares, then please care about the well-being of your teachers. Thank you.
Donna Lefevre, Leslie, Carolyn West.
Hi, my name's Donna Lefevre. I'm a math teacher at Watsonville High School. I've spoken here a few times, so it's not new. I just really want to go back to my first experience. This is my first year working at Watsonville High School, and my neighbor teacher was a long-term sub that was in the class, an English class for 10th grade and 12th grade. And on her first day, there was 40 plus kids in her class. She came over to my room trying to get chairs. So that was a reflection of not having enough staff at the beginning of the year. We still don't have enough staff, but the organization as we started was already really challenging. Then she was there. They extended her contract so she could be there as long as possible. She was an amazing person. She put in all this extra time as a long-term sub, did what she could to provide for the students, and then she had to move because legally she can't be there for longer than whatever the time frame is. There hasn't been any stability for that class since. And so you'll hear students talking about how they don't have kids, or they don't have teachers to teach these classes, and this is an English class for 10th grade and 12th grade. I mean, what are they gonna do when they go next year? They're not getting the support they need. And this is because every year it's been a problem. I mean, this graph talks about salaries that haven't been changed since 2017, and yet the rent has gone up significantly for starting teachers. Like, this is a huge problem. And when we talk about why the salary discrepancies with other areas, like, why is it so huge? 20,000, like at some ranges, like 40,000. And they say it's because of healthcare. But I mean, I'm pretty sure all the district people get the same healthcare, but Dr. Rodriguez, you make so much money, and your salary isn't that different from the other superintendents in these other districts. So why is that happening? Why do you get to make so much money, but we don't, and the kids don't get the teachers they need?
Hello, my name is Leslie Hurtado, and I'm a senior at Watsonville High School, and I wanted to address how unsanitary our school can be, starting off with the bathrooms, and it also coming down to bad smells in certain areas of the school. And also, I've seen mice around the library, and that's not very pleasing to see. There are so many disadvantages of a dirty school because that's the environment all the students live with on a daily basis. And it can even increase illnesses, especially with COVID still being a thing in society. The school needs to take more precautions and make sure the school is sanitary because school is literally everyone's second home. And in conclusion, I just think we can make our school more sanitary with the help of the staff and the students. There needs to be boundaries and daily cleanings in classrooms and every bathroom on campus. Also, I strongly agree with the fact that teachers deserve better pay. I think you should stop spending money on fancy water bottles that say Pvusd cares and show us you really care by helping us with these issues. Actions speak louder than words. Thank you for your time.
Hello, trustees and Dr. Rodriguez. I'm Carolyn West. I am a school nurse. I was just wondering if in the future maybe we can consider meeting in a larger space. If we really want to encourage people to participate, maybe we can meet in a larger space in the future because there's so many of us in here. Maybe didn't expect that turnout. I know we met the one time over at the library in that really big room. I'm newish to the district, so I'm still learning all the ins and outs. I would also like to respectfully offer my or any of the other school nurses assistant to Trustee Soto, who appears at each meeting to have difficulty wearing his face covering, as described in CDC and CDPH guidelines. You are a role model, sir, and whether you agree with masking requirements, it's a requirement. Additionally, I want to offer support to my wonderful teachers. As a parent, I was constantly in awe of teachers. I volunteered in the classrooms. And once I became a school nurse, I'm even more in awe. I do everything that I can to make their jobs easier. but the nurses are spread really thin, and I'm going to address that a little bit later. Would you please increase the pay scales for the teachers? They really do deserve it. They work so hard. They're there late at night. I know, because I'm there too. Thank you.
Elizabeth Thorne, Kristen Hart, Patricia Urick.
Hello, PVUSD trustees. Please put your mask over your nose, sir. You just got asked about that, so does everybody who come up here have to say that? Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We had 4 positive students at Watsonville High School with COVID. I have been running around here trying to tell the students that they need to keep their masks over their nose, so please be a role model. I also want to talk about the fact that these lovely students, many have said their schools, their classes don't have teachers. And take that one step further. That means there's no teacher of record. And that means they're not getting the grades. They're not getting grades. They didn't get second quarter grades because they have no teachers of record. Go through and look at how many classes Joe Gregorio is teaching and the other APs in our school are teaching. Physically, they're obviously not teaching those classes, but there is no teacher of record. That really does need to be addressed. It really does. So I'm going to say that, and I'm also going to say we're still short nurses, which you already know. The problem is we are getting into the heavy season, and we are short nurses, and nurses don't have subs. So if somebody goes out, another nurse in the district has to cover for them, and we're already short. So please consider that. This last Monday, in the county-wide, we had more number of student positives than we have ever had before at any time during this epidemic. Okay? So, please keep up the good work and pay our teachers more money. At least pay, column 1, step 1, at least $50,000, at least. The rest of them, yes, we'd like to see that increase, but we're not going to get teachers unless we pay at least equitable to what everybody else is paying. Okay? Thank you.
Hello, my name is Kristen Hart. I teach biology and marine biology at Watsonville High School. I am a first-year teacher. I have a master's degree in marine and watershed science. I make $47,996 per year before taxes, and my rent is $20,000 per year. That leaves me with $27,996 to live on before taxes. Please invest in your students' future by investing in your teachers. Thank you.
Anna Hudson, Jorge Manriquez.
Good evening, Dr. Rodriguez and all members. My name is Jorge Manriquez. I'm teaching at Watsonville High mathematics. I'm one of those teachers that are hard to get but easy to lose. And but today I'm here because of different requirement for me. I'm here on behalf of Pablo Berek, Mr. Berek, my colleague in the Department of Mathematics, because he wanted to be here with her student. Yeah, he's a sorry, he had to be here with his student, and he couldn't because he's doing the adjunct duties at Watsonville High. And I want to pass the microphone to Anna Hudson, and she's going to talk to you.
Hello, my name is Anna Elizabeth Hudson. I'm a student at Watsonville High, and I'm speaking on behalf of the 26 students in my 6th period English class. And we just have a few questions that we'd love you to just think about. So how do I graduate high school with 4 years of English when I don't have an English teacher for 1 year? If this district has such a large budget, why can't we hire teachers? Why did I not get a grade for the first quarter, and how does this affect my college plans? Why should we try and do the work if we don't actually get a grade and credit for what we've done? And why do us students get punished for the consequences of the district's actions? I'm standing here for my friends and for everyone who attends Watsonville High who doesn't have a teacher, even if they don't realize or care. But I do, and I believe everyone deserves a chance to get a good education, and students come first. But if I'm working hard every single day, I believe someone should be working just as hard for me. So I believe someone should be working hard for me so I can take the opportunities I'm given to succeed. Thank you.
Herman and Melissa.
Hello. Once again, my name is Herman Rafael Gonzalez, and I'm speaking here not as representative of Watsonville High School, but as Watsonville High School's ASB co-president. I'm really tired. I woke up at 5:30. I went to school the whole day. I was in a meeting until 6 p.m. I went home, showered, and I'm here now. And I'm going to go back home to do all my calculus homework. And it's only like 6 problems. And those 6 problems are really hard. But then I think about my teachers who have to grade 600 of those problems, and it's ridiculous. I just think about the insane workload that all of the teachers at my school in this district have, and it's ridiculous. I mean, they have to be counselors for their students because we don't have enough social-emotional counselors, and they can't even have time to grade because they're out during their prep period subbing for other classes, and that's because, well, you don't pay your teachers enough to have teachers in these classrooms, and because of that leads to teacher vacancies. Like what happened, I remember coming home and my little brother came up to me and said, there was no one in our 5th period. He goes to Lakeview Middle School. He said there was no one in their 5th period, and they sat out of their classroom the entire period until eventually their principal came by after having subbed for another class. The principal. I mean, surely the principal has other things to do. Surely, like, my little brother deserves to be in his 5th period classroom to learn, to grow as an individual, to have that. And he doesn't. And it's obvious why he doesn't, because teachers aren't paid enough, because they don't want to work here. Because I've lost so many teachers in this whole time. So many of the people here have lost their teachers. The entire social studies department just cycles in and out. There's new teachers like every single year at Watsonville High School, and it's ridiculous. I just like for our teachers to stay. I just like for my little brother to have a teacher in this classroom, and I would just love for me to be able to say that I have the opportunities that I should, but I don't, because teachers aren't paid enough.
Hi, my name is Amania Torres, and this is Melissa Garcia, and we are students at Watsonville High. I just have a quick question. How are we your future, yet you're not giving us the resources we need to succeed?
Okay. At the start of my freshman year, I walked into my math class and there was no teacher. I continued my entire year with no teacher, just subs every 6 months, which is the amount of time that they can stay legally. And I, as of right now, didn't get a grade for half of my semester, which I had to make up through E2020 because there was no teachers. And since then, starting my senior year, I had no English teacher. And I switched out of it immediately because I didn't want to have to do the E2020 my senior year because teachers weren't getting paid and there was no one to teach us.
Since you're not willing to raise the pay, teachers don't want to work here. It's sad, and no one knows where the money is going, and no one wants to talk about it. So we're here to ask you, where is the money? And if we're talking about the water bottles, we don't really want the water bottles. If you come to our school, there's a lot of boxes left with the water bottles. So where's the money going if it's not going where it's supposed to be going? We don't have teachers because the pay is really low, and how do we want our educators to support themselves in this community where everything seems to be getting more and more expensive? Especially the ones with families. There are people as well, and they need to be paid for all the work that they do. How is it expected for one to learn when we have a teacher shortage? When you tell us that you care, do you really use the money that we should be using on teachers and using it on water bottles and really cheap school supplies? Thank you.
Brogan, Jacob,
do I just go whenever? All right, teachers, I've seen the promised land. I now work at Morgan Hill Unified School District, and I am making more money than someone who works here for 13 years. I'm on the fourth row of the pay scale, and I'm making what a 13-year teacher makes. That's ridiculous. I used to work with my mom at EA Hall. I helped create your ethnic studies program. Okay? Imagine driving up to the parking lot and seeing Teslas and Mercedes. And guess what? Teachers drive them, not admin. Brand new Subarus, you guys. 2020. So we're hiring. If you would like to come to Morgan Hill, I have 5 seats in my car. Perfect for carpooling. And I can't wait to see you there.
Hi, my name is Jacob Saiz. I'm a student at Watsonville High School. I don't have much to say here, but one thing that really made me mad was how our bathrooms at Watsonville High School, they're disgusting. I'm sorry that, I don't understand what the issue is with whether it's money, our janitors, or what it is. Just they're never clean. They're just never clean. Like the same stains every single day. Like the bathroom's wet. Like the floor is wet. I'm sure that's a sanitary issue. I'm very sure. And another big issue, as we can see here, all the teachers here, our teachers aren't paid nearly as much as they should be. We're losing staff year after year after year. I've lost so many teachers that I was close to and I love so much. Just to name a couple, Miss Geib, Miss Krenz, and our vice principal, Mr. Mansfield. They're leaving because they can't afford to live here. They need to be paid more. I'm sorry, but I just don't understand what the issue is with not paying our teachers. Our education relies on our teachers. I don't understand how people up here who don't contribute nearly as much as our teachers get paid more than people over here who are contributing way more in our community. Please don't take this lightly. Thank you.
Pam Saxton, Ian Whitty. Pam.
Hi, my name is Pam Sexton, and I'm a teacher at the adult school. I've taught at Watsonville Adult School since, well, I started in 2002. And first I want to say the adult school is a really important part of PVUSD's vision and mission. Yeah, it's when we talk about what students need, it's about what the family needs, what community needs. And in our work, I just want to make sure that you remember how integral it is to all of PVUSD. So second, I want to also let you know as a teacher there, my students are parents. My students are older brothers and sisters, cousins, aunts and uncles. And what's happening in our K-12, even in ECE, it impacts my students. And it impacts them in deep ways. And often it prevents them from coming because they're dealing with these other issues that are caused by these heartbreaking stories. Listening to this input, it brings tears, right? It's horrible. And please, as others have said, invest in people. Don't let this exodus go. There's so many amazing people who live here, who care, who want to serve this community. Invest in them, and that's an investment in our students, in our whole community. Thank you.
Ian?
Hi, good evening, everybody. So my name is Ian Licotta. I'm a teacher at Diamond Tech, also on the negotiations committee. I know you are here because you care about kids. Okay, we're all here because we care about these kids. You've heard that many times. Last time we did negotiations, there wasn't enough money for a raise. We believe when you say the numbers are there. But right now, there's $17 million in the reserve. So my first question is why? Why are we holding on to that money when we're reaching a tipping point? Okay, we're at the tip of the iceberg with 20 vacancies. It's only going to get a lot worse. Okay, and I'm afraid. I read today in the New York Times that districts across the nation are going to 4 days a week because they can't afford to pay teachers. And I don't want this district to go down that route. Okay, so we have, a COLA 5%, right? The 2.5% you guys offered still leaves $2 million on the table. So I'm just asking for all our teachers, at the very least, you give that money to them so we can get the starting salary above $50,000. So I just want to show everybody, here's a little teaching lesson. If PVUSD cares, they can afford raising educators' salaries.
Nicole Beverly.
Good evening, board. Dr. Rodriguez. I'm a teacher at Minty White Elementary. Been there for 9 years, and I just wanted to talk to you about some amazing teachers at our school and the importance of negotiations. We were fortunate enough to begin the year with a full staff, and we felt that way, but unfortunately, in October, had a teacher take a medical leave, one of my fellow grade level members. And after 2 weeks of no subs, we decided we needed to have a solution. So we came together with our principal and we said, you know what? We will take those kids in. And we disrupted 5 classrooms, dividing those students up into all of our classrooms. The 4 of us willingly, without complaints, took these students in, completely changed the dynamics of our classrooms that we worked so hard to do from the beginning of the year. But we knew that this is what we had to do because it was best for our students. And we disregarded what was best for us and our classrooms because we knew that that was best for them. So please show us that you can do what's best for your staff by increasing our pay on the salary schedule. And don't let us be in the same predicament next year because teacher burnout is real. We're all feeling it. We're overwhelmed. We're trying to catch our students up. We're trying to get them back into the classrooms after COVID. It's been a challenge. We are dealing with extreme behaviors that we are trying to manage, trying to teach the curriculum, and show us that we are appreciated and that you appreciate us by offering a salary that's competitive and attractive to new teachers. Thank you.
Aaron? Yes, Aaron, it's you. It's you. Hello.
Good evening, everyone. Well, this is my 18th year in Pvusd, and I'm a very proud teacher, bilingual teacher at Starlight Elementary, and I'm a veteran teacher, and I know that all the veteran teachers here do also deserve a raise. We are the teachers who take in the pupil students who are at community college. We are the mentor teachers for CSUMB, for UC Santa Cruz. We are the science lead teachers. We are the green team teachers. We are the teachers who are always giving 110%. We are the teachers who had swollen legs during the pandemic, who did not get to watch Netflix movies at all. We sacrificed a year with not watching any movies because we were working overtime. And now we're back in the classroom, and it is hard. I'm exhausted. Look at my eyes. Do I look tired? I had a headache today. And yet, I'm still here to represent because it means a lot to me. But every year that we have to come and ask for a raise every, 3-4 years? Every time I come here and I beg for a raise, please, because my cost of living is going up. It's on the news. Everybody needs a raise here. And we need to attract young teachers to our district. We need to make sure that our high school students all have teachers. It breaks my heart. And everybody is just like emotional over this issue. We have to do something as a team. And it does hurt when I see that, we get to brag about how well we did during COVID times, but yet we need to compensate. You need to make sure that you compensate the teachers after we've done so well during this pandemic. So please, go deep with your considerations about the raise for everyone, because we do deserve it. Thank you.
Sherry Esterlin? Sherry?
Hi, I'm Sherry Osterlin. I absolutely hate public speaking. I really do, especially when it falls on deaf ears. I have watched these meetings for these couple of years and hours. I sit there as I'm grading papers and I listen to all of us come up and we talk about we live in garages and we live here and we live there and we don't have this, and we don't have that, and y'all just do what you're gonna do. So I'll just say my thing because I'm done. I can't leave without being up here and saying it, because to me that's cowardly, okay? I've only been in this district for 6 years. This is my 6th year, but it is actually my 30th year of teaching. And I have learned at my last birthday that I can retire. And while I didn't intend to, because I've only been in California for 6 years and I kind of figured I was gonna stay a little bit longer, I can leave, and I'm going to. Not really sure how I'm gonna plan this, but the thing is that I'm so tired of the revolving door of teachers. I have worked with 6 different language arts teachers in my grade level. That's what I teach. We get good teachers in, it's going great, and then I hear, yeah, I got a job over the hill, or I gotta move in with my parents, they live, Santa Cruz, they live here, there. We have lost so many teachers for good reasons. It's not even like, oh, you're getting married, great, you guys are moving somewhere different. No, They're leaving because they can't afford it. And to me, if you can't even afford the basics, and these people aren't living in fancy apartments. I'm not even living in a fancy apartment. But I choose to spend what I do have in a different way. I got people I'm giving rides to work because their cars are pieces of garbage and they can't make it. I don't know what you guys are doing, okay, but you have a boatload of money, and if you don't start respecting your teachers, all that money you spend on those fancy programs, you're not going to have anybody to run them.
Christina?
Hi, thank you for hearing me. I'm Christina Carter. I work at Minty White. I've been there for about 11 years, but this is my 31st year teaching. 31 years. And I'm here for the young teachers who don't want to even come to teach because they can't afford it. I started teaching in 1986, making $18,000 a year in Santa Cruz City Schools, but in 10 years after that, I was able to buy a home in Santa Cruz. I was able to live mildly, modestly, but save money on that salary and start a 403B account, pay off my student loans, and put a down payment on a home with a husband who worked a lot less than I did. And that was back then, but there's no way new teachers can do that now. Not in any way, shape, or form. Please, please, I have 31 years in. I can leave now in terms of retirement. I'm not going to, but we need people to be able to step up to this job. It's a hard job, but oh my God, it's my favorite thing to do every day. Every day, I still love it. I can't wait to see those little faces every day, even masks. I love it. I want more people to want to love it, but they don't feel like they can. Please, please, dig in those deep pockets that you have and spend the money on the teachers. We need it. Thank you.
Margaret Rosa?
Hi, good evening, Dr. Rodriguez, board members, esteemed educators, and these fabulous young people that are standing behind me. I'm a teacher at MSD Elementary. I'm a bilingual kinder teacher there. I've been teaching since 1998. The silver lining in the midst of this pandemic is the country has seen that you can't replace teachers and paraprofessionals in a classroom. No amount of bells and whistles on a computer screen or any educational app on a phone can take the place of an in-person teacher or aide. And this truth couldn't be more stark right now as we triage the mental health crisis among our students, their families, and fellow teaching colleagues. We are not okay. In the past 2 weeks, I've talked with colleagues at 2 different elementary school sites who told me that there are several teachers at those sites who have already decided that they are done. They're not coming back next year. Their administrators don't know this, and I don't think you know this. We've watched the Great Resignation unfold across this country, and we've asked ourselves, how could this be happening? But I really think you should brace yourselves. Here are 2 parting pieces of advice I offer you humbly. Number 1, take the time now as soon as possible to ask your teachers if they plan on returning next year, and if not, why. I would venture to guess that the main reason will be high stress coupled with the low pay. My second piece of advice is to raise our salaries so you can attract and retain teachers, specifically young new teachers. You should be maxing out the budget on teacher salaries because ultimately all that matters is the relationship between a good long-term teacher and her students. That's it. It's really that simple. It's not the millions spent on curriculum or the Chromebooks. It's not smart boards or 21st century classrooms. Loving, supportive teachers and personnel being there year after year for their students is the key to raising emotionally stable and successful students. Thank you.
Maria Chavez? Sarah Maria? Patricia.
All right, going back to item 6.1, our Educator Effectiveness Block Grant. The report will be presented by Clint Rucker, our Chief Business Officer.
Good evening, President Holm, Board of Trustees, and Dr. Rodriguez. So I'm going to be very brief because I have other fun ones to present tonight. So I'm going to let Lisa and Allison do most of the talking on this one. But I do want to kind of just briefly talk about what the Educator Effectiveness Grant is. This is a grant that many of you who've been board members for a while know we had about 5 years ago that was offered. It's really for our certificated employees.
Clint, I'm going to have you pause for a moment.
Sure.
For members of the audience, if you could keep the conversation down in the boardroom so that we can conduct our business, that would be most appreciated. And you can take your conversation outside. You're welcome to continue there. Thank you.
Sure. Okay. So, where was I? We had this about 5 years ago. It's a grant that actually goes for 5 years. This year, we're fortunate enough to be eligible for up to $5.62 million.